All right, well, thank you all for being here today. This is going to be a really interesting session. It's not geographically focused as we've done before, but it's about education and venture development in the corridor and how those two intersect with each other. I'm John Morris. I'm the CEO of Tech 2020 in Oak Ridge and a member of the TVC Board of Directors. So I'll be the session host and moderator of the panel, but the first thing, obviously, is let's give it away. So here we go. Let's see, I'll go down toward the bottom. Drum roll, please. Ron Haar. Is Ron here? Ron's not here. All right, I've been told to go 3 deep. Right? Okay. Wayne Kropp. Wayne's not in his seat. All right, go to another one. Sorry about that, Wayne. This one's not. Ramamurthy Ramesh. No, I'd say he's gone too. So you give it to Wayne. What do you think? Do what? Draw 3 more. Sorry, Wayne. Sorry, Wayne. I've got your name over here. It's a done deal now. Okay, draw 3 more. Chris O'Neill. Dang. They should have to. Brian Skelton. We have a winner. Great. So did I just give them that? And then go, yeah. Congratulations. Oh, I have it. Okay, great. Thanks to Barry for doing that. I think that's been a really good thing for us. Thank you, Barry. I think that's been a really good thing. Everybody's looked forward to the potential of winning that iPad. So I'm going to talk this morning just a little bit before the panel comes up about venture development and what venture development is. A little bit about myself. I've worked with technology ventures for the last 25 years. After a brief stint with the Tennessee Valley Authority and with the Oak Ridge National Laboratory, I got the fire in the belly to be a small business entrepreneur. And I got started in tech-based businesses way back when and have been involved in a number of them over time. Tech 2020 has been that go-to organization for me to help me to understand the things that I don't know. And so one of the things that I think venture development does in our region is to help people that don't know what they don't know. It helps them to know what they don't know. You don't become an entrepreneur just by declaring. There's a lot of things that you don't know. And the important thing is to realize that you don't know those things and to get to know them and know which ones they are. So I want to tell you a little bit about what, or define what venture development is first, okay? This is done by a group called the State Science and Technical Institute, and they have a website that I've put at the bottom there called regionalinnovation.org. And I wanted to put this definition up because we know what economic development is, and what we're trying to do is to help define venture development. Venture development organization is a business-driven public or nonprofit organization that promotes regional growth by providing a portfolio of services assisting in the creation of high-growth companies, providing expert business assistance to those companies, facilitating financial investments, and speeding the commercialization of technology. That's the official definition of what a venture development organization is. So if you take some of the parts of that and dissect it, you define not only who the organization is, but who they work with. the companies that they work with. So what I'm going to do for just a minute is talk about Tech 2020 and Tech 2020 as a venture development organization. It started in 1995, and it actually, a few years ago, was one of 15 organizations around the country that was benchmarked in order to come up with this definition. Tech 2020 has been doing entrepreneurial development for a long time, and Ryan, the regionalinnovation.org, or Regional Innovation Acceleration Network, defines innovation ecosystems with this chart. Now, it's hard to read this chart, but I'll read you some of the bubbles that exist around an innovation system. Things like state TBED programs. TBED stands for Technology-Based Economic Development. Incubators, university centers, tech transfer offices, workforce development initiatives, tech councils, planning. All of those things have to happen in an innovation system in order to make it work, okay? So there have to be all of those activities going on. Tech 2020 specifically works on 4 of those areas. Now, I'm gonna give you some of the success stories, because being a venture development organization is only good if you're able to call out those people that that you've worked with that have actually accomplished something in business. All of the companies that are listed up here have met one of 3 milestones that we have set forth. We call this the $1 Million Club at Tech 2020, because they've met either $1 million in sales, they've raised more than $1 million in venture capital, or they've had more than $1 million of exit, okay? Exit means that they've sold their company to maybe another company or through public offering. So all of these companies have met one of those measures of success, and they're the ones that we look at and really focus on as success stories in what happens. Some of these companies you may know. Some of these companies may be here today. But they certainly have had an economic impact in the region. And all of these companies had something to do with Tech 2020 over the years. That's what defines us as a venture development organization. So I wanted to throw those names up there because this is really what it's all about. So how do we work as an organization, as a venture development organization? I'm going to tell you about a few things that we've done. We have a lot of other initiative that's out there, but one of the most recent ones is something called the Lighthouse Fund. And this is a great example of cross-pollination across the Tennessee Valley Corridor. This is an angel fund that we just recently established in the Knoxville Oak Ridge area that takes local angels, consolidates them into a fund so that they can invest in some of these small businesses. The Lighthouse Fund was patterned after the Chattanooga Renaissance Fund that has recently invested over the last 3 years about $2.5 million in Chattanooga and is now going on to their second fund. So we're following and watching Chattanooga and what they've done in that regard. So the Lighthouse Fund is a brand new initiative, actually supported by the Appalachian Regional Commission, and they gave us some help in getting this started and getting it going. I'll mention 2 other funds that we have at Tech 2020, the Southern Appalachian Fund and Meritus Ventures. Southern Appalachian Fund is a $12 million new markets venture fund, and it's actually closed now. All the investment has been made in companies and gotten the investment out. But it was targeted at low-income areas. And actually, 2 companies in Chattanooga were invested by the Southern Appalachian Fund. Tricycle and Smart Furniture were both Southern Appalachian Fund investments. So that was done several years ago. Meritus Ventures is the only rural business investment corporation in the nation. Most venture firms are small business investment corporations, and that's a designation of the SBA, Small Business Administration. An RBIC is a designation of the USDA, the Department of Agriculture. And Meritus is the only one. It's a $36 million fund, and is making investments all over the Southeast. It's still an open fund, and it's classified as a Series B fund, or it funds companies that are up the chain. So those are two activities that we have going on. Another one is, and you may have heard something about this, was a grant we won from the federal government called the Advanced Manufacturing and Prototype Center. And we're currently working on developing the advanced manufacturing cluster in a 20-county region around Knoxville, Oak Ridge. That's centered around a group called RAMP, the Regional Advanced Manufacturing Partnership. And RAMP is in the process of convening local manufacturers to determine, are they an advanced manufacturing company? What is an advanced manufacturing company? How do you determine what that designation is, and how do other companies then become advanced manufacturing companies? So we're working on that process as we move through, and the convening has already started. I will mention that AMP is a part of a 20-county region in East Tennessee, but we just won in the last 2 weeks something called DRIVE that I think Tom Mason mentioned yesterday, that's focused on the automotive industry in the center part of the state of Tennessee. And that's really around advanced manufacturing. That's a new federal program called Investing in Manufacturing Communities Partnerships, IMCP. I'm from Oak Ridge, so I speak in acronyms. So if I ever use one, just raise your hand, I'll define what it is. So those are some of the programs that we work on in Tech 2020, focused on the venture, focusing on developing the venture into something that can be a success story, okay? One of the things that groups like this do is collect metrics, and we've had a significant amount of metrics. We've had over $55 million of venture investment in the companies that we've housed either in the incubator or in our programs. The most important thing is the average salary of these companies is $62,000 or greater. And so when you start a small company, the job creation is not only good in the number of jobs that it creates, but it's also good in the dollar amount of those jobs. So it creates high-paying jobs in accelerators and incubators like that. So I will point out just we won last year the University Business Incubator Index. We were ranked 4th nationally and 6th internationally among university business incubators. So we're proud of that designation. So why are we here today? That's enough about Tech 2020. We're here today to talk about the intersection between education and entrepreneurship. And you might think, well, those two don't mix a lot. But actually, I think every one of our panelists today has had some interaction with both education and entrepreneurship. It happens a lot more than you think it does. The question for our panel today that we're going to talk a little bit about is, where do we go from here? How do we make it better? How do we make that intersection stronger? Okay? So, to get kicked off, I wanted to list some of the venture development organizations that are in the region, in the Tennessee Valley Corridor. Kentucky Highlands and has been a big part of the TVC for a long time. There are others around in East Tennessee. This isn't an exhaustive list. There are ones in western North Carolina that I know that I've missed. There are ones in probably in Huntsville that I don't have listed. But this is just an example of some of the venture development organizations that are in the region. If you're a part of a venture development organization as defined earlier, would you just stand up real quick so we can see if you're an investor or a venture development organization around? Yeah, Jim, stand up now, come on. So these are some of the people that work every day working on entrepreneurs, investing, making sure that we have companies in our region that are growing, okay? And I think that's extremely important. Now, let's talk about, this one was way long, and I'm sure you can't read it, but we have a number of educational institutions in the Tennessee Valley Corridor. Obviously, all of the community colleges, they've formed the Community College Consortium, and we have lots of other universities and other institutions of higher education. If you're in one of those, stand up. Great. There's probably a few more of you out there too, I imagine. You are an important asset for the Tennessee Valley Corridor. Both of these groups of people are an important asset. How we take advantage of the intersection between the two of them is what we're going to talk about today, okay? So if I